The birth of Sinbad indicated that he was destined to do great things, and he really did. Magi, Adventures of Sinbad, covers the adventures of Sinbad, obviously, but in a really impressive way. It features action, comedy, fantasy, and adventure, which makes it a very versatile anime to watch. It will definitely be entertaining for most of you. What's up? It's King Kasper. I'm back with another video, and without further ado, let's get it. For those of you who don't know about the story, let me enlighten you. It's basically a prequel to Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. It takes us 30 years before the actual events of Magi happened. It introduces us to Sinbad, a young man who starts his adventure and travels the world. He becomes more skillful due to his interaction with different people belonging from different places. His only goal is to become the High King of the Seven Seas, and he works hard to achieve that goal. Now, let's get into a brief history of the anime. Magi Adventures of Sinbad was originally a manga series that was serialized in Shogakukan's Weekly Shonen Sunday in Japan. It started in May 2013 and ended in June of the same year. The manga was written by Shinobu Okada, and the artwork was provided by Yoshifumi Otera. An anime adaptation was released on April 23, 2016 in Japan. It was produced by Lay-Do Studio and had a total of 13 episodes. The anime ended on July 2nd, 2016. The story is comprised of a total of 13 arcs. The first arc is the Badir Arc. The Badir Arc basically tells us about the early days of Sinbad. It introduces us to Sinbad's parents, Badir and Ezra, and tells us a little bit more about their backstory. Badir, an ordinary soldier, was given a little more amount of money than the rest because he was injured during the War of Parthivia. Flash forward 3 years later, he's seen with his son Sinbad in a ship, and that ship is caught in a storm. However, Sinbad makes them get out of it successfully, making his father quite impressed. Later, Sinbad is seen as saving a man named Darius and bringing him home. It's revealed that Darius is an enemy spy. When he tries to hurt Sinbad, Badir ultimately kills him. Eventually, Badir is deployed back to war as he's accused of letting a spy stay at his home. A month after he leaves, Sinbad and Ezra are informed of Badir's death, ultimately leaving Sinbad and his mom devastated. Number 2, the Baal Ark. The Baal Ark opens 9 years after Badir's death. In this arc, we see Sinbad coming across a strange traveler named Yunan. He takes him to his village after clearing up a misunderstanding created by Yunan, as he was sitting inside a barrel, making him look a little shady. Later, Yunan goes to the military when the news comes that Sinbad is having some trouble. Meanwhile, Dragul and Sinbad are having an argument because Sinbad doesn't want to enlist in the military. Sinbad can't tell his mother what he actually wants to do. He decides to go and conquer the dungeon of Baal. He then goes to the dungeon and finds a huge dragon appearing before him. Dragul is present there as well. Sinbad defeats the dragon after the fierce battle, and Dragul takes interest in Sinbad, thinking he's special. There is a fight between Dragul and Sinbad after that, in which Sinbad wins, and Baal makes Sinbad his master. Shortly after returning, Ezra dies, leaving Sinbad all alone. At this point in the story, they introduce Serendine, who's a Perthervian princess, and want to capture Sinbad. There's a fight between Serendine and Sinbad, and obviously our boy Sinbad ain't going out like a bitch. Sinbad wins, leaving her behind and setting out on his journey. Number 3, the Muchak Arc. The Muchak Arc involves Sinbad's meeting with Hinahoho and Piparika, who are both siblings and one of the 8 generals of the kingdom of Syndra. Hinahoho decides to capture the dungeon of Valifor and goes there. He's saved by Sinbad after getting attacked by some strange creature. There are a few other people including Videl, Mahad, Jafar, and Draken who wish to do the same. However, there could be only one winner, and the 6 of them start competing with one another. Valifor creates the Minotaur and makes the 6 men capture it. After a long and hard battle and a few hardships, Sinbad is once again declared the winner. Number 4, the Ream Empire Arc. This arc shows us how Sinbad goes to the Ream Empire and stays there. Sinbad meets a man who introduces himself as Harun. He takes interest in Sinbad and talks to him for a little bit. It is revealed that Harun was the king of Balbad, who's been hiding his identity this entire time. Number 5, the Sasan arc. The Sasan arc tells us about Sinbad's stay in Sasan and his meeting with Darius, Leoxes, and Mistress, Darius' oldest son. We're also introduced to Spartos, one of the 8 generals of the kingdom of Syndra. Number 6, the Artemira arc. Artemira, we now cut to Sinbad traveling to Artemira Kingdom and meeting the queen, Myrrhidianus Artemina. We're also introduced to Pitsy as a child, who was one of the 8 generals of the kingdom of Syndra. Number 7, the Slave arc. The 7th arc of Magi, Adventures of Sinbad shows us how Sinbad became a slave to Madara. It's also here that shows us how Sinbad met Masrur. Number 8, Heliohapt arc. The Heliohapt arc tells us about the stay of Sinbad and his group's stay in the kingdom of Heliohat. They're looking for some land in the Dark Continent for Sinbad to build his kingdom on. Sinbad decides to conquer the Dungeon of Jinn, and the only way to do it was if the group fights against each other, and they actually did. Number 9, the Dark Continent arc. Here, we're taken to the Dark Continent in the 9th arc of the show. Number 10, the Pathivia arc. The Pathivia arc takes us to the kingdom of Pathivia, where Sinbad is going to build his very own kingdom. Number 11, the Syndra Foundation Arc. This arc lets us know about the beginning of the Syndra Kingdom and how its foundation came to be. Number 12, the Syndran War Arc. Here, we get to see an intense battle between the Syndran Kingdom and the Kingdom of Parthivia in the 12th arc of the series. And lastly, number 13, the Epilogue Arc. This is the final arc in the series, and basically tells us about the end of Sinbad's story, eventually leading to the events just before Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and press the bell notification icon. Let me know what I missed in the comments. And until next time, peace.